And we are doing a very important chapter. And what is the name of the chapter? Anyone? Quickly.
Contents of the Gita summarized.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Contents of Gita summarized means in second chapter you will get summary of entire Bhagavad Gita, and hence it is very important. And you'll see as and when we progress in second chapter, our surrender to Krishna will also increase gradually. Our attraction to Krishna will also increase. And Krishna is going to reveal wonderful secrets of life in this chapter. Okay. And in the last session, we did verse number 12, right?
12, yes.
And today we'll do 13 and maybe 14 as well. Okay. So please repeat after me. Who would like to follow me today? Any volunteer? No volunteer?
Prabhuji, I will follow.
Okay. Himanshu Prabhuji. Very famous verse. So in this section, all verses are very famous. Very important as well. Dehino asmin yatha dehi.
Dehino asmin yatha dehe.
Kaumaram yovanam jara.
Kaumarang yauvanang jara.
Tatha dehantara praptir.
Tatha dehantara praptir.
Dhiras tatra na muhyati.
Dhirastatra na muhyati.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Mahajan Prabhuji, you also wanted. Dehino asmin yatha dehi.
Dehino astam atya.
Dehino, no difficult. Just listen to me carefully. Dehino asmin yatha dehi.
Dehino yasmin yatha dehe.
Kaumaram yovanam jara.
Kaumaram yovanam jara.
Yovanam is a very common word.
Yovanam, yeah.
Tatha dehantara praptir.
Tatha dehantara praptir.
आप सुनिए पहले ध्यान से, then you'll be able to. तथा देहांतरा प्राप्तिर.
तथा देहांतरा प्राप्तिर.
धीरस तत्र न मुह्यति.
धीरस तत्र न मुह्यति.
Very good, wonderful, thank you. राजेंद्र दशोरा प्रभु जी, please try. आप म्यूट कर लीजिए महाजन प्रभु जी. देहिनो अस्मिन् यथा देहि.
देहिनो अस्ति यथा देहि.
देहिनो अस्मिन् यथा देहि.
देहिनो अस्मिन् यथा देहि.
कौमारम यौवनम जरा.
कौमार्य च यौवनम च जरा.
आपके पास बुक नहीं है क्या?
No, I am in Bhubaneswar actually.
अच्छा, आप भुवनेश्वर में.
So book is not with me.
अच्छा, ठीक है. तथा बोलिए. तथा
तथा
देहांतरा
तथा देहांतरा
प्राप्तिर.
प्राप्तिर.
धीरस
धीरस
तत्र न मोहियति.
मोहयति.
Very good. Now you all can recite being muted. Okay. Dehino asmin yatha dehi. Kaumaram yauvanam jara. Tatha dehantara praptir. Dhiras tatra na muhyati. Okay. Word by word meaning is like this. Dehina, of the embodied Embodied means one who has material body. Asmin, in this, yatha, as, dehe. Dehe means in the body. Kaumaram, boyhood. Yovanam, youth. Jara, old age. Tatha, similarly. Deha antara, of transference of the body. Prapti, achievement. Dhiraha, the sober. Tatra, thereupon. Na, never. Mohiyati, is deluded. Translation purport by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Please repeat after me. Preeti Mataji, unmute yourself. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Thank you, Mata. Please mute yourself. So, do you remember what did we discuss in the previous verse? Anyone? Any volunteer? What was the key message in the previous verse?
The soul will always remain. It is eternal, and we will also as a soul always remain.
So soul is eternal and we are souls, so we are eternal. As simple as that. And we will never die. We will never.
And every soul has its own identity also.
Every soul has its own identity. There is no mixing, merging of one soul into another soul or one soul into super soul. Their identity existed in past, identity exists today, and the same individual identity will continue to exist in future as well, which is after this life. Soul will remain.
Body is like a cage and soul is like a bird.
And after this?
And body dies, but soul remains.
Yes. And in general, most of the population is busy polishing the cage and not feeding the soul or the bird. Is that a sign of intelligence? No. So most of the people are not intelligent. They may look very intelligent externally. इसको बोलते हैं तत्व भ्रम. Just repeat after me. Tattva Brahm. Tattva means reality. Brahm means confused about. So most people are confused about this reality, or they have no idea about this truth about themselves. Huh? They are ignorant of this fact in terms of their existence as a soul, not body. So in the previous verse, Krishna established soul will remain eternal. It will never die. What dies is actually body. Now Arjuna was thinking, this body is related to soul only. So it is natural to develop affection for the body. And if body perishes, it is natural to lament. So what is the problem from lamenting? It's because my Guru, Dronacharya, Bhishma Pitama, they will lose the body with which I am affectionate. I have got developed a lot of affection over the years. So if they lose body, if I am lamenting, what is the problem? So Krishna is saying, Baba, your body is dying every day. You know, in this verse, Dehino asmin yatha dehe. You're changing body every day, from youth to boyhood to youth to old age, and then to new body. Your body is constantly changing. Did you lament when you lost your boyhood body? Did you lament when you lost your youth body? Why are you lamenting? In fact, these people will get a fresh new body. You should rejoice. Now they have old body. And when this soul transfers from this new body, old body to new body, they'll be more happy, no, with the new body, which is less troublesome. Old body is more troublesome, isn't it? Old car is more troublesome. New car is less troublesome. So they'll get new car. What is the problem? So this is Krishna's argument. Okay, so we'll read the purport now. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment. And it is established fact medically. Body is changing constantly. Manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. So while the external body is changing, but the soul is not changing. Soul is same. When it was, this small baby body, 3.5 kg, 4 kg, 5 kg, it was the same soul. Now it is 80 kg body. It is the same soul. Only external body has changed. Soul is same. If you read in dictionary meaning of death, what will they say? Can you quickly Google and tell me the meaning of death? Dictionary meaning of death, quickly.
The action or fact of dying or being killed, the end of the life of a person or organism. He had been depressed since the death of his father, like that.
Basically, end of life.
Yeah.
Or in another definition, you'll find when the bodily parts stop functioning, it is called death.
There is one more meaning also it is mentioned, the irreversible cessation of all vital functions, especially as indicated by permanent stoppage of the heart, respiration and brain activity.
Which means they have no idea of what happens after death. According to medical dictionary, death means end of everything. But Krishna is explaining in this verse, तथा देहांतर प्राप्ति. देहांत के बाद कुछ और भी मिलता है बाबा. It is not the end of everything. So this distinguishes between material science and spiritual science. Material science is limited to only till the time this body exists. But spiritual science talks about what happens after this material body. Tatha dehantar prapti, he will receive another body. So what is Krishna saying? Same soul in baby body, same soul in boyhood, same soul in youth, same soul in old body, now the same soul in new body. What is the problem? So don't lament for the body, because body is anyway changing. And this transfer of soul from one body to another body is called transmigration of soul. Please note it down. Transmigration of soul from one body to another body. और हिंदी में कहते हैं आत्मा का स्थानांतरण. स्थानांतरण का मतलब क्या होता है? एक स्थान से दूसरे स्थान पे जाना, एक शरीर से निकलकर दूसरे शरीर में चले जाना. And we call this as death, which looks so scary. So actually, neither soul dies nor body dies. It is simply movement of soul, transference of soul from one place to another place. Making sense? Kabra Prabhuji, making sense? There is no death. Soul doesn't die, it is eternal. Body is already dead. It is matter. It functions only because of the soul. So who dies? Who dies? No one dies. It is only movement or transference or transmigration of that tiny spark which makes this body move, or which is called soul, from one body to another body. This is the science of spirituality. Actually, one who is reading Bhagavad Gita, he is a real scientist, not material scientist. Because their understanding is very limited, or in fact, sometimes not even factual, whatever is limited understanding they have. That's why this is called Tattva. Tattva means truth. And most people have Tattva Bhram. They have confusion or misunderstanding about the truth.
What is Tattva?
Tattva means truth, eternal truth. Like Jiva Tattva. Jiva Tattva means eternal truth about the soul. How do people understand? Ishwar Tattva means how do you understand who is the Supreme Lord? What are his qualities? What is his form? Where does he reside? What is our relationship with the Lord? So these are all tattvas or eternal truths which cannot be understood through material science. Cannot be understood. It is beyond their capacity to experiment and find out about Jiva Tattva or Ishwar Tattva. They cannot. Why they cannot find out? Why it is beyond their reach? In body, the most subtlest element is our intelligence. Most subtlest. So senses, your mind is more subtler than senses. Subtler, you understand? Sukshma. You can see senses. You can see hands, you can see nose, you can see head, but you cannot see mind. Why? Mind is more subtler than senses. Similarly, intelligence is more subtler than mind. And scientists are using this intelligence. Correct? But the soul and super soul are even more subtler than intelligence. So with this intelligence, more subtler element in terms of soul and super soul cannot be understood. They're very subtle. बहुत सूक्ष्म है. So it is beyond material understanding. If you go and type in Google 10 open questions in science, right, which they have not been able to find out answers to. And what are these questions? What is the source of this universe? They don't have no idea. What is consciousness? No idea. Soul goes where after death? No idea. These are all spiritual subject matters, cannot be understood through any material science. And hence, one has to take shelter of scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. There is no option. Making sense? Rajendra Prabhuji? We have two Rajendra Prabhuji. So both smiled. Thank you. Is this point clear? What is Krishna trying to say in this verse? And then we'll purport and try to understand detail. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, there was no cause for lamentation. So how do we get next body? The question is, okay, theek hai, understood transmigration of soul from one body to next body. But what are the specifications of next body? Who decides? You understand specification, no? Most of you.
God will decide based on our karma.
Karma and desires. Both. So when somebody leaves his body, he has a lot of unfulfilled desires in his mind. And they remain as impressions. And mind, intelligence, and ego, they travel along with the soul from previous body to next body. So mind, which carries all the memories, is also traveling along with the soul. The subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego, they also travel along with the soul from one body to another body. So mind carries impressions. Suppose I have given this example or analogy earlier also. Rajesh Prabhuji, let me ask you a question. If you go to a market to buy a t-shirt and you have a variety of t-shirts, how will you buy? On what account you will buy a new t-shirt? Based on what? Unmute yourself and then speak.
Based on our liking.
Okay, so based on your desire, and second,
the price also sometimes.
your capacity to buy. Two things.
Yeah.
ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको पसंद तो है, मान लो 1000 रुपए की टी शर्ट, लेकिन पॉकेट में 300 रुपया. So that desire has no meaning because you have no capacity to fulfill the desire. So both are important. How much capacity I have based on my karmas previously, and what is my liking? What are my likes? What I like, can I afford through my karmas in the previous life? Have I done such karmas which makes me eligible to fulfill and take a body which I desire? So it's a function of both. Correct? For example, somebody is very fond of swimming. And he spends hours and hours in the water. So material nature picks up this desire. Oh, he's very fond of swimming. He likes to be in water most of the time. And material nature starts manufacturing this body based on his desire, assuming his karmas also support, can afford this kind of body. And most likely he'll get a body of a fish, wherein he can spend 24 hours inside water. So our desires have a huge influence on what next body we will get. So we should be we should be very. Hanji, boli.
Guruji, but आप बोलते हैं, सब बोलते हैं कि you should not have much desires.
No, I am saying the law of karma. This is how law of karma works. On what account we get next body is based on these two things. Now the question is, if we have material desires, we will get material body. If we have spiritual desires, we will get spiritual body in the kingdom of the Lord. If you want to serve Krishna, for example, you have a huge desire to serve Krishna, for which you need a spiritual body. So you are transferred to spiritual world, go and serve there. You get spiritual body, no material body. No material body means the cycle of birth and death stops, because spiritual body is also eternal, like soul. So you serve eternally. So the purpose of devotional life or spiritual life is to purify our desires from material desires to spiritual desires. From desire of serving ourselves to desire of serving Krishna. This is spiritual life. And when we are able to purify these desires, our next life, our body, is a function of our desires, material or spiritual. Principle remains same, but what is the quality of our desires makes all the difference. So till the time one has even one material desire, he cannot leave this material world. He cannot. He has to come back to fulfill the desire. So the perfection of spiritual life is to have all desires which are around serving Krishna in different ways. Sunil Prabhu.
Prabhuji, 2 pointers. What is the difference between mind and intelligence? And second point is, what influences or changes these 3 things which goes with the soul, right? Mind, intelligence, and ego.
So the purpose of mind is sankalpa vikalpa. accept something, reject something, accept something, reject something, based on liking, right? Purpose of intelligence is to discriminate between right and wrong. So functionally, mind controls senses and intelligence controls mind. For example, your mind is suggesting you to drink alcohol. Arey, pee lo, Sunil, pee lo. है ना? But intelligence says, no, this is not good. It affects your liver. Make sense? Mind will push you to accept or reject based on liking. Mind likes things, accept it. Mind dislikes it, reject it. And mind is also changing its position every day. Today it may like green color, tomorrow it may like blue color. मान लो you go to buy a car and you have a variety of colors. You may like blue and you buy the car and come back. And after next day you may think, "Arey yaar, that maroon was also very good." So mind is changing its position and putting you in trouble. Isn't it? So mind keeps changing position. Sankalpa, vikalpa, sankalpa, vikalpa, sankalpa, vikalpa. But the purpose of intelligence, just hold on, just hold on.
Right.
The purpose of intelligence is to control the mind. And how do we strengthen intelligence? Through the wisdom of the scriptures. When we read scriptures, we are situated in knowledge, right knowledge. And on the basis of that knowledge, we decide to accept or reject the demand of the mind. For example, now when you grow spiritually, you get convinced that getting up early in the morning is very conducive for our spiritual life. Intelligence has understood, but mind still wants to sleep. Mind will tell you, 1 घंटा और, बस 1 घंटा और. Alarm बज चुका है 4 बजे का, but mind will force you to continue sleep. Isn't it? But intelligence, if it is strong, will say, no, get up. I have to finish my 16 rounds in the morning. It will control the mind. Today, because its intelligence is not equipped with the right knowledge, it is weak and mind overpowers our intelligence. So the purpose of reading these Shastras, acquiring this wisdom, is to make it very strong spiritually, and then it can control the mind very easily. Okay. And false ego, what is false ego? What is false ego? False ego is, I am this body. Ego means identity. When one wants to enjoy materially, he is put into false ego to think he is a body, because then only he can.
That is Tattva Brahm.
That is Tattva Brahm. Think, yeah, false ego is Tattva Brahm. You're right, you got it. False ego is very, our identity is as a soul, but false ego makes me think what? I am this body. This is Tattva Brahm. Or confusion about our real position, our identity, or maybe you can call this identity crisis. So, but when we read scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, our intelligence is gradually strengthened. Gradually strengthened. And then we are in position to control the mind.
So Prabhuji, so from that point of view, so out of these three, ego is one such thing, since we now know that body is just a temporary thing, right? And soul is permanent. So now we have gained the knowledge that ego, or from an ego context point of view, that the soul has a journey, not the body, right? So from a next life point of view, we will know that body is different and soul is permanent.
So now the question is, you've got the knowledge, but still there is no realization. एक होता है ज्ञान, एक होता है विज्ञान. Most people now have understood we are not this body, we are a soul, but still there is no realization. Still we have attachments to this body. Still we have attachments to things related with this body. Still we have attachments to relationships related to this body. So we have still not realized. And how will this realization come? So this Gyan becomes Vigyan by practically serving Krishna. When we engage our senses in actual service of the Supreme Lord, this knowledge becomes realization. Then this difference will come, what you're saying. So having knowledge is just the beginning, just the first step. That is not sufficient, self-sufficient. It has to be converted into a realized knowledge. You understand the difference between knowledge and realized knowledge? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji, it means we are not the body, not mind, or not intelligence.
Yes, we are 100% spirit soul. So, and what is liberation? Liberation means when one gets rid of both the bodies, gross body and subtle body, mind, intelligence and ego. लेकिन जब तक mind के अंदर desires हैं, soul cannot leave the body. Or mind will not leave the soul. पकड़ के रखा है.
When it will leave the soul, as you said that mind
When all desires in the mind are purified, then only it will छोड़ देगा आत्मा को. Mind will, subtle body will leave the soul, and soul is liberated. So chanting, eating, prasadam, reading Gita, reading Bhagavatam, association of devotees. The purpose of all of this is to purify our desires. So more and more you chant, more and more you hear, your attraction to Krishna increases and your detachment to material world also increases. Or attachment to material world comes down. Both happen parallelly. Bhakti, paresha, nubhavo, virakti. मैंने पहले ही बताया. If you are hungry, very hungry, and food comes in front of you, and you start eating one by one morsel. When you're eating food, listen this very carefully. When you're eating food, three things happen parallelly. Okay? When you're eating food, three things happen parallelly. First one is you feel satisfied. जैसे जैसे खाना पेट में जाता है, you feel more satisfied. Yes or no? Second, which happens parallelly, you feel more nourished. You feel more energy inside your body. Correct? Yes or no? And third thing which happens is reduction in material, reduction in hunger. खाने से पहले जो भूख थी वो कम हो जाती है और धीरे धीरे खत्म हो जाती है. करेक्ट? तीन चीजें क्या क्या हुई हैं? श्वेता माता जी, श्वेता वन माता जी, श्वेता मैनेरिया माता जी. अच्छा, वन इज कोठारी क्या? मैं भूल जाता हूँ. श्वेता मैनेरिया माता जी. यस. क्या तीन चीजें होती हैं?
सर प्रभु जी, एक बार आवाज नहीं आई थी मुझे.
अच्छा, ठीक है. Anyone who would like to repeat three things which happen parallelly?
We feel energetic and hunger.
First is satisfaction. Second is nourishment. And third is reduction in hunger. When you enter into spiritual life, three things happen parallelly like this. Very, very important principle. तीन चीजें एक साथ होंगी आपके साथ. पहला क्या होगा? You feel satisfied. In material life, We never feel satisfied and we will never feel satisfied. But in spiritual life, the moment you start exercising these activities, simply by performing these spiritual activities, you feel satisfied. Second, you feel more nourished spiritually. You can feel the difference. And third, material hunger goes down. Bhakti pareshanubhavo virakti. What is virakti? Is detachment from material desires. It also. So जो ये भौतिक भूख है वो भी धीरे धीरे कम हो जाती. And this material hunger is a root cause of all our anxieties. Yes or no? All material desires are actually the root cause of all our desire, all our anxieties, or you can say restlessness in our mind. So your mind becomes more peaceful, mind becomes more stable. So spiritual life brings tremendous change in our disposition by giving us more satisfaction, by making us more feel nourished, and also less anxiety. Brings peace of mind. Why? Your material hunger comes down. It is natural. Making sense? Yes? Any more question on this before we proceed?
प्रभु जी मेरा क्वेश्चन था because the mind, intelligence and false ego always captured us most of the time.
Yes.
See, like intelligence, that based on some logic it works. That logic comes from our experiences or some knowledge we acquired from the surroundings or some scriptures we have read or some books we have read. All these logics we keep in our mind.
Yes.
Then we try to influence the mind.
Yes.
Intelligence. So now you told all these three are also one type of means bad character.
Yes.
In the body.
So, but see, they are bad as long as they're involved in or engaged in material activities. But the moment you engage them in spiritual activity, they become your friend. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, in 6th chapter, about mind. He says, mind, if it is controlled, is your friend. If it is uncontrolled, it is your worst enemy. So currently, we carry this uncontrolled mind with us 24 hours. We don't need any enemy outside. We have a biggest enemy sitting inside us only, which is our mind. Right. This is a very nice verse, which is a very high standard, but still I'll share with you. To tell you, where the spiritual knowledge is going to take us. And this comes in 11th canto of Bhagavatam, towards the end of Bhagavatam. It says, Nayam jano me sukh dukkha hetur. Listen carefully. None of the people around us are responsible for our miseries. None of them. Nayam jano me sukh dukkha hetur. They're not responsible. Nayam jano me sukh dukkha hetur na devatatma grah karma kalaha. ना ही देवी देवता हमारे सुख दुख के लिए जिम्मेवार है. हम कभी बोल देते हैं ना, ये राहु बैठा है मेरे उसमें, या ये केतु बैठा है, या शनि बैठा है ना, उनको वी होल्ड देम अकाउंटेबल. वो भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं है. ना हमारे आसपास के लोग, ना देवी देवता. फिर नायम जनों में सुख दुख हेतु ना देवता आत्मा. आत्मा मीन्स मेरा शरीर, मैं स्वयं. वो भी हमारे सुख दुख के लिए जिम्मेवार नहीं है, फिर कौन है बाबा? हमको पीड़ा तो बहुत होती है, दुख तो बहुत होता है। नायम जनों में सुख दुख हेतु ना देवतात्म ग्रह कर्म काल। ये ग्रह जो है, क्या वो रिस्पॉन्सिबल है? नहीं। क्या हमारे कर्म हमारे दुखों के रिस्पॉन्सिबल है? बोलते नहीं, कर्म भी जिम्मेवार नहीं है। प्रायम कहते हैं ये तो उसके कर्म है, कर्मों का फल भुगत रहा है। बोलते हैं कर्म भी जिम्मेवार नहीं है। फिर कौन है? कर्म नहीं है, मेरे घर वाले नहीं है, देवी देवता नहीं है, काल समय, वो समय भी जिम्मेवार नहीं है। कभी कभी कहते हैं ना, समय समय की बात है, उसका समय खराब चल रहा है, इस दुखा रहे हैं उसको। बोलते हैं none of them is responsible for your miseries. Then who is responsible? नायम जनों में सुख दुख हेतु ना देवतात्म ग्रह कर्म कालः मनः परम कारणम आमनंती. It is your mind which is the root cause of all your problems. Why? It is not controlled. Like you go and watch a movie. ठीक है जी, आप सिनेमा देखने के लिए गए, वहां पर सिनेमा में आपको मूवी दिखाने के लिए पहले सब लाइट्स ऑफ कर देते हैं, यस और नो? सो दे ब्रिंग यू इन डार्कनेस, करेक्ट? यस. एंड व्हेन इट इज डार्क एंड देन स्क्रीन पे मूवी आता है, then hero heroine comes, some villain comes, and when story is going on, sometimes you feel very happy, sometimes you feel very sad, you start even crying. It is happening on the screen, imagination, but you start crying, you feel very happy, isn't it? Because you start associating with what is happening on the screen. Yes or no? Similarly, when one is in the darkness of ignorance, tattva brahm, then whatever happening around us, mind starts associating as if it is happening with me and takes all the pain unnecessarily. So it is our mind which is the root cause of all our pains, all our miseries. But when this mind, and Krishna tells the solution also towards the end of this chapter, then what is the solution? He says, engage your mind in me. Give your mind to me. Then you will feel blissful. येन केन प्रकारेण मनः कृष्ण निवेशयेत. किसी भी प्रकार से मन को भगवान में लगाओ, कृष्ण में लगाओ. Then you can protect yourself from all these miseries. When mind is engaged spiritually, it doesn't experience material pains and pleasures. I'm giving live example. When it is winter time, temperature is maybe 0 degree or 1 degree or 2 degree. Our devotees go to Mangala Aarti at 4:30 in the morning during peak winter. And they go and dress the deities, dress the Lord. But during dresses, they're not supposed to wear woolen stuff. They're not even supposed to wear kurta. They wear a small chaddar around and they go and serve the Lord for 2.5 hours. During those 2 hours, when their mind is completely engaged in serving Krishna, they don't feel cold. My personal realization, you don't feel cold. 2 hours, and mind is completely engaged in Krishna spiritually. Your mind is isolated from material pains and pleasures. That is spiritual life. So one can get rid of all material pains very easily by engaging mind in Krishna conscious activities. That's why Krishna instructs in Bhagavad Gita, we'll see later, Man mana bhav mad bhakto, remember me always. then you are protected in this material world. Always remember me. Smartavyo satatam Krishna. Vismratavyo na chat. Not even a single moment you forget me. Always remember me, then you are safe in this material world. समझ आ रहा है आपको सुनील प्रभु? कृष्ण भूलिया जीव भोग वांछा करे. The moment one forgets Supreme Lord or forgets Krishna, he develops desire to enjoy materially. But as long as his mind is engaged spiritually, he will not have those material desires. It is natural. I told you, na, तीन चीजें होती हैं, उनमें एक चीज क्या है? विरक्ति. It comes naturally. So the perfection of spiritual life is somehow keeping our senses, mind practically engaged in devotional activities. That's why chanting is very powerful, because chanting is the most potent process to engage your mind. Chanting is all about mind. Mantra means what? Manha traite iti mantra, which delivers the mind, is called mantra. Mantra is so powerful, it is made to what? To deliver the mind, to purify the mind. Like when snake bites, all these charmers, they recite some mantras to get the poison out of the body. Have you seen that? Have you heard about this? Simply by mantras, they get the poison out by reciting some mantras. Similarly, this Maha Mantra takes out all the poison from the mind, which is disturbing the mind. And hence, chanting is very, very powerful, a very potent exercise, spiritual activity. So do it with faith. You'll see the difference. So mind, intelligence, they are our friend if they are engaged spiritually. They are our worst enemy if they are engaged materially. But the problem is we engage them most of the time materially. That's why we are restless, we are anxious, we are disturbed. Yes or no? Yes or no? So the art of living is to engage your mind, your senses spiritually. Then you are safe in this material world. Okay, I'll read further. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by change of bodies. So anyone who understands these three things, kya? Constitution of individual soul, that it is eternal, it is not temporary. One. Super soul. Super soul means the Supreme Lord, Paramatma. So one who understands constitution of the soul, super soul, and material nature, the nature around us, of Prakriti. If he has understood these three tattvas, Jeev Tattva, Ishwar Tattva, and Prakriti Tattva, he will never be deluded when bodies change from one body to another body. Lack of this understanding will make you bewildered. Bewilderment, you understand, no? What is bewilderment? Anji? What is bewilderment?
This is bhav sagar mein.
Bewilderment means maybe
Wandering.
Peak of confusion.
Means feeling lost.
Confusion, you can say, simplistically. You'll be completely confused about what is happening here. Because you don't understand tattvas, or the truth about living entity, or the soul and the super soul and material nature. And that is the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. That's why it is supreme knowledge. Okay, there's one paragraph left which I will discuss in the next class, because time is almost over now. Okay, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So you all are becoming scientists, real scientists, when you acquire this knowledge. Yes, if you have any question, you can ask. Ram Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Yes, Mahajan Prabhu ji.
प्रभु जी आप जब एक्सप्लेन कर रहे थे पुनर्जन्म के लिए कि मिनिमम डिजायर जो डिजायर होती हैं डिजायर आल्सो गो विद द सोल एंड दैट्स हाउ अगर वो स्विम करता है तो फिश बन जाता है और आपने कहा स्पिरिचुअल डिजायर अगर है तो अगले जन्म में वो सोल बॉडी नहीं लेगी दैट बिकम
then the cycle of birth and death is stopped.
But supposing somebody has a desire spiritual desire और क्या नेक्स्ट जन्म में वो अगर वो प्रीचर बन जाता है तो इज इट नॉट स्पिरिचुअल वर्क आप कोई बहुत बड़ा ज्ञानी है पुजारी है
Yes.
तो
Yes.
दैट्स आल्सो हिज डिजायर कि भाई अगले जन्म में मैं जाके लोगों को प्रीच करूंगा या लोगों को रिफाइन करूंगा तो इस इन दैट केस विल इट बी टेकिंग अ फॉर्म ऑफ हिज नो बॉडी एट ऑल और डज ही गेट इनटू अनदर बॉडी?
Yes, very good question. So, in one sense, because he is free of all material desires, he is qualified to go to the spiritual world.
Spiritual world.
But Krishna may desire, as you mentioned, these are called associates of Krishna, personal associate Krishna. Krishna may desire to send some, I'll mute you because there's a lot of sound coming from behind. So Krishna may desire to send someone or such empowered souls to this material world to help people like you and me. And they are called spiritual masters, Guru. Krishna says, Guru is nothing but manifestation of the Supreme Lord. Guru is a representative of Supreme Lord, who are the souls who have no material desires, but they come here to help us get delivered. Or you may call preacher or sannyasi or acharya. Like Prabhupada is a pure liberated soul. They're called Shaktya Avesh Avatar, means a living entity who has been injected with some extraordinary power to help people like us.
I would like to amend your statement.
हाँ बोली.
आपने कहा people like you and me. My statement is people like us, not you.
No,
You're already amended. You're already preaching us.
all of us are in the journey, Prabhuji. All of us are in journey. Same journey. We are in the same boat. है ना?
बैठे हैं वो मेरे से सहमत हो रहे हैं आपसे सहमत नहीं हो रहे हैं.
मैं तो सहमत नहीं हूँ आपके साथ बिल्कुल.
प्रभु जी के चेहरे पे देखिए.
But you are in different station. We are in different station. That's
yeah. So recovery, extent could be different, but we all are sick people, patients. Yes, Huma Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा.
हरे कृष्णा.
जब हम एक सोल दूसरे बॉडी में ट्रांसमाइग्रेट होती है तो क्या वो एकदम हो जाती है या उसको कहीं रुकना पड़ता है? तो वो क्या उसी को कहते हैं आत्मा भटकती रहती है?
तो in some cases soul does not get immediately body. Some cases, like if somebody commits suicide is very dangerous. So when somebody commits suicide, then he may not get body immediately, which means what? Till the time he gets body, it is only with the subtle body. A soul with subtle body is very dangerous. Why dangerous? Lot of desires, but no body to fulfill desires. भूख लगी है, लेकिन खाने के लिए पेट नहीं है. So what does this soul does is it enters into somebody else's body to fulfill desires. जिसको हम भूत प्रेत बोलते हैं, उसके अंदर प्रेत घुस गया है, बोलते हैं ना ऐसे. वो घोस्ट या प्रेत, they are realistic. They are not, false, manifestations. Why? Because they do not have gross body and they have desires, so they enter somebody else. Somebody who has a weak spiritual mind is the easiest, target for them to enter. One who is unclean or spiritually weak, they enter into such bodies very easily and then do whatever they want.
और नेचुरल डेथ हुआ तो?
Natural death, then based on karma. For example, somebody's actions are very sinful, right? He is taken to hellish planets for some, what do you call, punishment. So he is given what is called yatna body. Yatna body का अर्थ क्या होता है? जैसे this material body cannot tolerate pain beyond a point, isn't it? कोई मेरे को मारेगा, है? तो मैं क्या होगा? थोड़ी देर बेहोश हो जाऊंगा, है ना? I cannot tolerate beyond a point. I have a limit to tolerate. Correct? And then they have to wait till I wake up to punish me. Then they'll punish me, I'll again faint. So this body is not conducive to get severe punishments. So they're given a different type of body called yatna body, which doesn't faint. You have to experience pain, severe pain. So these hells are not, imaginary places. In Bhagavatam, there is an explanation of 28 different variety of hellish planets. And क्या पाप करने से कहाँ जाता है वो भी लिखा है. So one who has just one sec. One who has been very sinful, he is first taken to hellish planets for punishment, and then he is brought back into whatever body he deserves based on his karmas.
इस ग्रह को कहते हैं कि ये भी दुख का वो है. शुरू में कहते हैं ना आपकी यहाँ पे ये सारे दुख मिलते हैं, तो क्या ये यातना ग्रह है?
कौन सा?
जिसपे अभी हम हैं.
हाँ, ये भी. This is also so in this, let's say Prithvi, there are 84 lakh species or 8.4 million species, out of which 4 lakh are human bodies, right? ये जो है ये कर्म योनि है, यानी कि इनमें कर्म होता है, उसका बंधन लगता है. बट जो बाकी स्पीशीज हैं, दे आर कॉल्ड भोग योनिस. दे ओनली सफर देयर रिएक्शंस. व्हाटएवर दे डू, उसका कर्म नहीं लगता है उनको. फिर हम कुत्ता कुत्ती झगड़ रहे हैं, कर्मा नहीं है. दे सिंपली सफरिंग बिकॉज ऑफ द कर्मिक रिएक्शंस. They don't incur karma. But in our body, human body, which is a body, meant for a responsible life, one has to be very careful in terms of what you do, what you don't do, because every action you perform, it brings some karmic reaction. So in this planet, you have both bhog yoni and karma yoni. But human bodies are karma yonis, and all other species like animals, reptiles, birds, or trees, plants, they're all bhog yonis. They simply, what do you call? They suffer for the sinful reactions they have incurred. They don't incur karmas.
Prabhuji, my question was that when the body is not there, when it is transmigrated, or you can say that when the body, soul leaves the body and he gets punishment according to the past karmas. So where is the question of that getting yatnas? कहते हैं ना कि आपने गलत कर्म किया तो उस हिसाब से आपको यातनाएं मिलेंगी. तो बॉडी ही नहीं है तो वो एक्सपीरियंस कहाँ से होगा यातना?
उसको बताया ना, उसको यातना बॉडी मिलती है एक्सपीरियंस करने.
अच्छा, ये अलग से मिलती है.
हाँ, वहां पर यातना बॉडी मिलती है just to experience all the pains.
Okay, thank you.
Krishna has all the arrangement, perfect arrangement. Okay, anyone else? Who is 1 plus LE2121? If you could introduce yourself. 1 plus LE2121. Okay. So no more question. Then we can wind up. Thank you very much. So please chant the holy name.
1 minute.
Yes, Mataji.
These children who are born, who can't speak and can't hear, or they are not able to move, it means they are given yatna body.
This is a material body, But this yatana is not as severe as the kind of yatana one gets in hellish planets. Those are very painful. This is not very painful. Those are very painful punishments.
No, like then why do these children they get such bodies which
Because
they can't enjoy?
Karma.
Karmas only, na. There's no
Karma.
other reason. There's no other reason. It's because of one's karma only. But punishment is not as severe as what one is subjected to in hellish planets. Yeah. Okay. So we can wind up now. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai aur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Please chant your rounds sincerely. My humble request. Thank you.